My name is Anirudh. Right now I'm 18, but this happened to me when I was 9 years old. I used to live in the United States in the state of Texas. It was a Saturday in January of the year 2011. In another 3 days, my birthday was coming up, so I was happy and I had done all my work with excitement. From the age of 6, I had a habit of playing with my toys in my backyard in the evening around 6 p.m. So that Saturday, I was so overjoyed because my birthday was coming up that I played until 9 p.m. I went in because my parents called me as it was pretty late and always asked me to close the back door after I entered the house. But that day, I had forgotten to close the back door, and even my parents forgot to remind me to close the door. I finished dinner around 9:30 p.m. and watched a TV show with my parents till 10. After the show was finished, they told me to sleep as I had crossed my usual bedtime, which was at 9 p.m. But that day, my parents allowed me to sleep a little late as it was a Saturday. I brushed my teeth and my mom kissed me goodnight, and I passed out. Around 1 a.m., I urgently needed to go to the bathroom, and so I jumped out of my bed, walked to my room door, which was closed. And every day I keep the door open, but it was closed, which is a bit odd. I didn't think much of it, and I thought my mom closed the door by accident. So I tried to pull the door, but it didn't open. I thought it was locked from the inside, but when I checked, it was locked from the outside. I wanted to call my parents, but my parents' bedroom was in the top right corner of my house, and my room was in the bottom left corner. We had 2 floors, and my parents lived on the second floor, and I lived on the first. But I needed to use the bathroom so urgently that I decided to jump out of my window. And my window is about 3 feet away from the grassy ground, so I jumped, and as I expected, I had landed safely on the ground. Then I headed to the front door and rang the bell. I didn't expect my parents to open the door after I rang the bell once, so I rang the doorbell several times. On my 5th attempt, my dad finally opened the door with a baseball bat and was astonished to see me ringing the bell and was wondering why did I go out of the house. I first had to finish something, so I rushed to the bathroom, and when I came out, I explained everything to my dad. Well, he didn't believe me, so I asked him to check. We both went in the direction of my room, and when he checked it, it was indeed locked from the outside. We both rushed to my parents' bedroom and woke my mom to check whether she locked the door, but she told us she didn't. Well, my dad explained everything to her, and she was shocked. She immediately hugged me. After this, we heard a loud thump in the living room downstairs. We all jumped and became even more terrified. My dad grabbed the same baseball bat and walked downstairs. I and my mom were scared to be all alone, so we followed my dad downstairs. My dad had already found out what caused that thump and said it was a book which he was reading. He kept almost on the edge of the table in the living room, but he kept it in such a way that it still wouldn't fall. So I was pretty convinced that there was someone else in our house. So I told my thought to my dad, but he still didn't listen. Then we all heard a scratching noise coming from our living room closet. We were all terrified at that moment. But my dad had the balls to go to the closet, not forgetting the baseball bat. My mom was ready to dial 911, but Dad told her not to call them yet. The moment my dad opened the door is the moment that will bring chills down my spine to this day. When he opened the closet door, an ugly man was standing with greasy hair and wrinkly skin. It seemed that he didn't have any teeth either. But when I saw what he was carrying in his hands, I screamed and told my dad. He was carrying a long kitchen knife. He then started running towards my dad and tried to stab him. But my dad reacted quickly and smashed his face with the baseball bat. My mom had already called the cops. And then it hit me that this was the man who locked me in my room. But how did he get in? Then I remembered that I had forgotten to close the back door after I came in. That's how he must have entered the house. The cops arrived in 5 minutes, but still the man was blacked out. 2 officers pulled the car in front of our house and handcuffed the man and arrested him. He was still unconscious. I and my family were relieved, and I did hug my parents after the officers left the house. After that, I always remembered to lock the back door after I entered the house. When I became 12, I completely quit playing with toys. But I still wonder what would have happened to me if my dad hadn't reacted quickly and smashed the bat on that man's face. I guess that would have been the end of my family. But I'm glad that didn't happen.